Здравствуйте, Его Святейшество. Мой вопрос касательно свободы воли. В учении Дзогчен при достижении самосовершенного состояния ты оставляешь все как есть. Все твои мысли, эмоции, они появляются сами по себе в естественном состоянии. То, что происходит вокруг, тоже происходит в естественном порядке вещей. Ничего не меняется. Но я не понимаю, где же тогда находится воля? Где свобода воли в природе ума? Что это за явление? Спасибо.
Your Holiness, the question is about Dzogchen, where you kind of self-fulfillment, you leave everything as it is. But then the question comes about the free will, whether we have it and how does it manifest itself.
Repeat.
The question was about the Dzogchen.
Yes, that's right.
When in you,
Dzogchen, especially Turkey,
yes,
Chao Guru Stang Sati.
and then the question comes about the free will. How does that manifest, and how you can experience that?
The savage Goma Song.
So I didn't understand the question well. In Dzogchen, as I mentioned briefly about Mahamudra and Dzogchen, they actually are related, come from the highest Yoga Tantra teachings. So whether it's not Mahamudra or Dzogchen, or Sakyapas, the union of clarity and emptiness, when they talk about the alaya, the continuity at the causal level, it said that there are certain qualifications that within the sentient being's mind, all the resultant states are in nature of potentiality and so forth. Of course, we cannot explain it on the basis of a coarser mind and prana energy, but the subtler ones on the basis of this. And so within that context, then there is the clarity of emptiness, and then the union of emptiness and clarity and so forth. And then in the Mahamudra also, this is explained on the basis of the clear light mind. And then in the Dzogchen, in the what is known as the breakthrough, this also is explained on the basis of this clear light nature of the mind. When you practice the Turgel or the Turgel or leap forward, this is practiced on the basis of this clear light mind itself, emphasizing your meditation or focusing on this clear light mind. And even in the case of Gelug tradition, when it comes to that kind of a stage, it is said that you don't meditate at some point on emptiness, but the thoughtlessness or non-conceptuality. So in the highest Yoga Tantra, there is mention of the great bliss wisdom. So, but this great bliss is not the end, but it's the means to manifest, to actualize the clear light mind, and so that you can use it to perceive objects, emptiness, and so forth. And then, in the case of Dzogchen, all the different states of mind are said to arise from the clear light nature of the mind, the luminous nature of the mind, and therefore they all types of cognition are permeated by this rigpa or this clear light nature. So even as one goes through the experience of sensorial experiences, you can still maintain that awareness of the rigpa, the pristine awareness, just as this awareness or clear light awareness permeates all these consciousnesses, just as a sesame seeds permeates the whole of the sesame shell, or it's like fully. And therefore, when you meditate in Dzogchen meditation, you, although there is this kind of a clinging to the objects, you are not distracted by it, but your mind is still focused on that clear light, the nature of the mind itself. But sometimes some Dzogchen practitioners seem to take that just being able to maintain some kind of a focus is itself Dzogchen. That's not the practice. That's not the meaning. So that is the door or the onset of entering into the Dzogchen. So it's you have to go through the process of that kind of experience, and then you have to also go through the breakthrough practice. And so, for example, Dzogchen is not easy. So I have received teachings on the Longchen Nyingtik, the essence of the heart essence of Longchen Pa. I have received the teachings and the explanation on the 7 treasuries of Gunchen Longchen Pa. And then in the Sakya tradition, I have received the instructions, guided instructions on the teachings for the disciples, explanation to the disciples, and then with regard to Kagyu tradition, Je Rinpoche, Tsongkhapa says the Marpa Lotsawa was the treasury of the secret the Tantra of Guya Samaja, and therefore the Guya Samaja Tantra came through Marpa, the great translator. And it is even said that the Gelug system is the confluence of the Kagyu and the Mahamudra. And so, with regard to the Guya Samaja instructions of Guya Samaja practice, it comes through the Kagyu tradition. And so, the Gelug tradition also emphasizes the use of this clear light mind as well. So, did I mention this yesterday? Although both the Sutra and Tantra teach, both of them show or teach emptiness. Tantra has the actual real remedy or antidote for overcoming our negative emotions. And the Tantra has actually taught that of the main subjective mind, the clear light mind, meditating on emptiness. So, which means that that path is not taught in the Sutrayana, and therefore although the negative emotions and so forth are taught in both the Sutra and Tantra, the obscuration to knowledge can only be overcome through the tantric path, the subtlest obscuration to knowledge. And therefore, you need to understand by studying the classic texts of the different traditions. first studying the general structure, teachings of the general structure of Buddhism that are taught in the Sutrayana, and then go into the more esoteric teachings. Otherwise, you will not be able to see the significance of the Sutrayana teachings, and you may actually fall into the pitfalls.
전하고 있어야 돼.
And then there are people who really not really understanding the teachings of these different Tibetan Buddhist traditions well. They talk about being Kagyu power or Nyingma power, Jonangpa, and so forth. So we need to really study well.
Кармы. Как можно объяснить то, что в мире становится все больше и больше взрослых и детей с ментальными заболеваниями? И что это означает для нас, как для общества? Спасибо.
Your Holiness, in the world we have that the number of young children and adults with mental illness is increasing. How can you explain it from the point of view of karma, and what is the meaning of this?
나 레저 차시차.
The subtlest karma is said to be only accessible, known to the Buddhas, the omniscient ones, and so it's very difficult for us to fathom. So sometimes, because of taking different medicines, when a mother is pregnant, and because of some pain, some mothers, pregnant mothers, women take medicine to, painkillers, and that seems to have adverse effect on the embryo. So it seems that there are people, more and more number of children with this kind of handicap. So I have not done any research, but it seems that people who just carry on with the centuries-old traditions in rearing children, and there are less number of children with this kind of disability or retardation and so forth. So I think some time ago in San Francisco, or I had a meeting about children who actually misbehave through violence, indulge in violence and so forth. And then there were scientists, medical doctors, and then social workers as well as educators. So all of them, in their conclusion, they unanimously said that these happened because of the lack of love and compassion in society, and therefore the children misbehave and even go to the length of murdering one another. And so this is what they said. And for example, in the case of Japan, there are many school children who actually, students who become very unhappy and depressed and then commit suicide. And also in Sweden, this happens, although there's huge, very good material advancements in these countries. People are unhappy. And what Tibetan explains this kind of problem is that it comes through some imbalance of the wind energy. And so the modern existing education system is more or less oriented towards the material development, and it's lacking in teaching and education in the mind, about mind, and the warm heart. So it's not just me who has this kind of view, but even people in the healthcare system and education and scientists. We are working together to introduce this kind of a warm heart in our schools education systems.
Как правильно относиться к самоубийству близкого человека с точки зрения совершенной мудрости?
what will be the right attitude towards the suicide of a close person from the point of view of wisdom, of complete wisdom?
So committing suicide, regarding that, I mean, as human beings, we have a very special, unique brain. We can use our intelligence and make judgments about anything. And so if you commit suicide, that's really unfortunate, really sad, and it feels dear. Of course, from the perspective of the Dharma, this is sinful. So you should know what causes and conditions led to that person to commit suicide. And sometimes there are people who do take their own life through some kind of a projection of mind out of the body. So of course, if that really goes well, effectively, that's okay, good. But if not, I mean, it's like committing suicide. So it's better to live than shortening your life, because taking your own life there's not much purpose.
Его святейшество, здравствуйте. Спасибо за ваше учение, подобное алмазу. Мой вопрос посвящен вчерашней передаче учения. Вы говорили, что для рождения ребенка нужны папа, мама и искра сознания. Какое именно сознание, какая виджняна не умирает, а является непрерывным, бессмертным в потоке перевоплощений?
Your Holiness, yesterday you said that for the child to be born, you need a mother, a father, and the mind. What is the mind which is deathless, which goes from birth to birth?
So as said, I had discussions with scientists. Yesterday I said, and merely the sperm and the egg coming together doesn't give life. There's no conception happening necessarily. Therefore, there is a need for a third condition or entity, which shows that this indicates that there's need for the consciousness to conceive. And then to explain in detail that this consciousness must conceive in this kind of particular parent or mother's womb, I mean, that needs to more research. We cannot explain it. We cannot explain it. These seem to be, they are more or less the very hidden phenomenon. So with regard to the objects, ontological status of things, there are the obvious manifest things, and then the slightly hidden, and then the very hidden. And so by seeing what is manifest, what is obvious, we can use inference and then come to the conclusion about something. But when it comes to the very subtlest nature of the karmic workings of karma, it's very, very called a hidden phenomenon. So this can be explained only by those who have true direct experience of such phenomenon. We cannot use our inference, just normal inference or the perceptions to understand them, because we cannot explain this and such causes and conditions have given rise to such and such working of karma.
Next.